And welcome everyone once again to another edition of 90.9 WJAB's Yo Just Check In, where we let you know what's happening around Huntsville, the Tennessee Valley, and throughout our region of individuals that we want you to know that are making a difference in the community, whether it's through the arts, through education, through music, through entertainment. That's the emphasis of WJAB's Yo Just Checking In. I am your host, Marcus Sims, and of course, we are powered by 90.9 WJAB and WJAB.org. Now, our special guest for this edition of Yo Just Checking In is not only a good friend, but she's someone who's been making a difference in the community for quite a while now. She's a wife, a mother, an educator, a counselor, and probably holds a lot of other titles that I'm not even touching on right now. We want to welcome to this format to Yo Just Checking In, Dedra Muhammad. Dedra, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Brother Marcus. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to catch up with you. And of course, you have a lot of things that are going on. We're going to talk a little bit about your new book that you have out right now that we want everyone to check out. Maybe get some late summer reading in. That's how I'm looking at it right now. Support your artists, and maybe a great way to get in some late summertime reading. And also, we're going to talk about mental health for both students and parents. We know the school year is going to be starting up soon. In fact, by the time this interview rolls, if you're in the Huntsville area, the school year would have already started. So we want to talk about mental health for students as well. So we're going to talk about that first and foremost. But Sister Dedra, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself. For someone who does not know you, tell us a little bit about you, your origin story.
Okay, well, thank you, Marcus. I was born and raised in Pontiac, Michigan. And just to let it be known, people hear about Detroit. Let me tell you, Pontiac put Detroit on the map. Okay, the Pontiac car. So let's make sure we're mindful about that. I went to the prestigious University of Michigan. And I was blessed. Like once I moved here to Alabama, my sons attend Jackson State University, and I didn't have much experience. And I'm like, wow, I love University of Michigan, but I love my HBCUs. In fact, I wanted to move to the South because I felt such a connection, just to my people here. I remember growing up in Michigan and all the exotic children, I would like to say, they came from Mississippi and places like Tennessee, and I always wanted to be here. And now I'm here. I used to run track. I love to read. And I work for the school system. I have been in public school since for the last 2 decades, Marcus.
Okay. Now let's jump right into it. In fact, let's get into the book that hopefully by the end of this interview, we'll have folks going online, checking out, whether they get it from your website or through Amazon, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but let's hop right into it. Tell us about the book, Hidden Princess. Let's talk about that.
It's so much. It covers so much. I always get tongue-tied when it's time to talk about it, Brother Marcus, because people ask me, what is it about? There's so many layers in it. It's guised as the most compelling love story imaginable. You will fall in love with the characters. You will find yourself in the book, and you will not be able to put the book down. People have gotten in trouble at work. It's like you're at work, and once you get into the book, you have it under your desk. I mean, you just have it nearby, just hoping to steal moments. I think one of the best quotes that reviews that I got, Brother Marcus, someone said, Making Mary, in its infancy, is as well written as Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father, only Making Mary is more intriguing and contains a lot more suspense. And I had put the book down because of the stigma of domestic violence, et cetera, et cetera. And then I said, well, I have to pick this book up. And I truly feel that I was used as a vessel to put this project together. It's not an urban piece. It's a literary piece that is a serious piece of literature, if I can say that. So it's so much more than a love story.
Now, you touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the topics and issues that Hidden Princess goes into? We don't want to give away too much, but what are some of the issues and topics that we're discussing in this book?
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so it takes us from the aftermath of slavery up through the Great Depression. I actually used my own family as a model as they followed the North Star looking for a better way of life. But in my discovery, it wasn't just my family who did it. We all have families that originated from the South and traveled north. And so in that, if you've ever seen Gone with the Wind and the Civil War is the backdrop of it, of a love story, it's like a shade of the Black experience. We can't get away from it. So while it's not about the Black experience per se, it's about a family, but their experiences encompasses that. And so what has happened is it started out as just about my family and a love story, but then we started dealing with relationships inside of the love story, and what we encompass today inside of relationships. So it's not it's a historical piece that has an urban touch to it, if you will. So you would be able to find yourself, Brother Marcus, you would be able to find yourself in the book. And it's also an answer to some of the societal woes we face, because I'm putting in the why. So the anatomy of violence. We deal with a lot of violence today, whether it's gun violence, violence in relationships. How does this happen? It doesn't happen in a vacuum. So in the book, you get to see the thought processes of the characters that are so well developed as to why they come up with these decisions. How do we get here? Those types of things.
Wow. Now let me ask you, what I think is so I'm always compelled when I just intrigued, I guess you could say, when I have friends or know individuals that write books. I write poetry, short stories, spoken word, but I think the idea of writing, of just taking the time out to write a story, a book, is just amazing to me. What led you to sit here and say, I'm going to sit here and do this? I want to put this out for everyone. How did that come about?
Okay, well, the truth is, my great grandmother, Brother Marcus, her memory was swept under the rug. She herself was the victim of domestic violence, and nobody wanted to talk about it. I learned about my great grandmother once I had graduated from college, before I even knew she existed, and everything was so secretive. But I started thinking, okay, wait a minute, this was an innocent person who was 20, in her early 20s, when a tragedy happened. How could she be the villain? Why are we sweeping her memory under the rug as though she was um a bad person, when that's not the case at all? It's just the shame that we feel. We don't talk about the problems that happen in our family. We try to sweep those things under the rug and come out as though like we're perfect. So if you look at the cover of the book, you see a beautiful woman, but then she has three sides to her. The one that maybe, that side of us that we want people to see, we portray it as though everything's okay when it's really not. And then we have the side that we really don't want people to see. But that darker side could actually be the most beautiful side of us at all. The trials that we have undergone, that we tried to hide. So, and that's what I meant about the stigma about, we're going to talk later about mental health. Well, that stigma that's attached to it, the shame that is attached to us when anything that is not of value happens. So I decided that I wanted her memory to stay alive. So the only way that her memory could stay alive, if I were brave enough to research that history, write what happened, and use my background as a counselor to fill in the gaps, use the psychology that I know about to fill in the gaps, to help us to understand why what happened did happen.
Wow. And I want to give a big shout out to Alabama A&M's own Johnny Moore. Of course, he designed the beautiful
Yes.
cover of the book. Johnny, I don't think Johnny's ever had a artwork that I've said. So not to be, but yes, there you're seeing the artwork right there from our own Alabama A&M's own John Moore. So salute to John Moore for that. Now, Sister Dedra, let me ask you, do you have a favorite author or writer? With the field that you're in, do you have someone who just stands out to you as a favorite writer or anything like that?
I love the writings of Toni Morrison, particular works by Toni Morrison, like Song of Solomon, um, Tower Baby, The Bluest Eye, of course. That was the first work I read. I love Richard Wright. Those are, I would say, my favorite two authors.
Now,
and many people don't know about Richard Wright. You know, he wrote Black Boy back in the day.
yes, 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 yes. Now, are there any upcoming projects? We know we've got Hidden Princess out now, but is there anything else that you're working on, literary wise or documentary wise or anything like that? Or what do we have coming up?
Well, a couple of things are coming up. I have a short movie that should be released in early September, and we'll have a premiere. It's called The Nineveh Project, and it's a scientific movie. It's wonderful. It's a drama. It's a comedy about a man who he wanted to stop police brutality. And so it's cute. It's only 11 minutes long. The other thing is I'm starting to write a book, Brother Marcus, and I have to tell you that you really have inspired me, because we have been talking about mental health. We have been talking about helping students to navigate through the school process and do so safely and to come out on top better than they were. How can students remain or become resilient in the type of society we live in today? How is that possible? We're in this changing society. So I have some things that I can offer, being in education for over 20 years. So I wanted to write a book about that. And then, of course, with Hidden Princess, that is the first of 3. And I'm halfway through with the second novel.
Wow.
So lots of things.
We're looking forward to now. I'm looking forward to seeing the short film that you have coming out as well, and definitely we're going to have to discuss that when it's time to drop the short film as well. Now, where can those that are listening or viewing this right now, where can they get Hidden Princess? We want them to support. So where can they get it?
Oh, it would be great to have the support. The easiest way is just go straight to Amazon, and is Hidden Princess: The Rebirth of Making Mary. Again, Hidden Princess: The Rebirth of Making Mary, and it's on Amazon. If you're in the Huntsville area, you can go and you can check it out of the public library downtown, and they may be at a few other libraries. Or you could go straight to my website, DedraMuhammad.com, and order it there.
Right. Now, if you check it out at the public library, make sure you take it back on time so someone else can read it. Don't pull a Marcus Sims and get those outlandish library fees. Take the book on time back, read it so the next person can do it. But we want you to ultimately support the art, support the artist. So definitely do that as well. Now, last but not least, when dealing with Hidden Princess, what do you want someone who's going to read the book, whether they check it out or buy it, what do you want them to get out of it?
Oh boy, they're going to come out better than they were. Again, you will see yourself in the book, Brother Marcus. So when you see yourself in the book, you see decisions that not only you've made in the past, but that you may make in the future, or decisions your friends may make. So you will be refreshed at the end, because it's a refreshing read. It's a wonderful read. You'll be able to laugh and cry at the same time, but you will be better because of it, because you will begin to understand more about society, more about how you fit in society. So think about this. This is a book that's coming from a counselor who have worked with students and families for decades. And I'm taking that, and I'm taking the problems that people go through and putting it into novel format so that you can read it. So all of that into one book. Think of it like that.
A lot of it going down. We want you to support the book and check out Hidden Princess from Tennessee Valley's own Dedra Muhammad. And this is 90.9 WJAB's Yo Just Checking In. I'm your host, Marcus Sims, and our special guest is educator, author, motivational person, all around just good person, Dedra Muhammad. And we talked the past few moments about the book Hidden Princess. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the school year is rolling now. It's by the time this interview is rolling, the kids have probably been in school at least a week or so. The children have been in school for about a week. There's been so much that's gone on, Sister Dedra, as far as we know the typical stuff that goes on, but of course, young adults today deal with everything from school shootings to COVID to maybe things that are going on in home, bullying, world affairs, talking about what's happening in Ukraine. There's so many issues that are going on.
Yes.
I don't want this to be a stressful time for students and parents. Can you give us, though, since you work within the school system, counseling, and have dealt with many of the young adults in the school system, maybe a few things to look for as far as mental health tips or just things that we need to look for so that these young adults have a successful and as stress-free year as possible?
Yes, yes, yes. I know we've talked about some things. There's so many. I guess today, what my mind is on, Brother Marcus, is not giving up. Some of the children, they come back and they're already in a rut before the first day of school. By week 3, they're already behind. I would say, don't give up. That's number one. You can always start over. And why? I think a lot of students don't know the vast amount of resources that are in public schools. So they think, okay, well, I'm failing this class. I'm not going to be able to recover, or I just don't have the aid that I want, or whatever the case may be. You can always start because teachers are so excited to see students recommitting themselves. Counselors are on board when students are recommitting themselves. So that's one thing. Sometimes students get so depressed, Brother Marcus, that they can't see their way through the end of the semester. They want to leave school. I say, don't give up, recommit, start all over. Every day is a new day. Start with a new mission. Say
And
that.
if a student is going through something, as we talked about this on a previous podcast, it's okay. There's no shame. It's pretty much privacy is respected in talking to a school counselor or someone, correct?
Let me say something about that, Brother Marcus. That's extremely important. Everybody needs a counselor. I need a counselor. You need a counselor. All we're doing when we go to a counselor is we're talking it out. It's just like, let's bounce ideas off of each other. And let's bounce ideas off of someone who may see things from a different perspective. That's different from talking with our friends, whom we're with all the time. Go to a counselor. It is okay. In fact, if you don't see your counselor, don't wait until something bad happens. You don't have to wait until something bad happens. You go and see your counselor to check in. Say, hey, my name is Marcus, and I'm a sophomore or I'm a senior this year, and I just want to get to know you and maybe become aware of some of the services that are offered and just check in and let you know I exist. That is being smart. That is using the resources that our tax dollars pay for.
Okay.
It's like going to the dentist. What you have insurance, and some of us, we can get like some slight, I don't care, Obamacare, whatever we have, but you want to get your teeth clean. So if you don't go get your teeth clean because you're ashamed of that, it's almost like, not going to see a counselor. I can use that analogy a little bit because there's nothing wrong. We might have a little stain. We all have a little stain about ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with talking that out and getting that off of us.
True. Now, is there any tips or anything that you'd want parents to look at maybe for their students that are going into as we start this new school year? As I said, we talked before on a previous podcast, and we know there's a lot of things. Maybe it's language that a young adult will use, or maybe it's just an aura, or maybe a type of energy they put out. Is there anything that parents need to look for, especially for this upcoming school year, or just in general?
Yes, parents, we have to take the time. I put a lot of it on the students because I want to empower them. So I don't talk the same way to parents and teachers that I talk with students, you see, because I want to empower the students. But parents, come on. We have to take the time. The most important thing for us to do as parents is to actually listen to our children. They have to know we're there. They have to know that we're not a burden. They have to know that no matter what is going on in our lives, that we are never too busy for them. A child should not feel that way. We have to be there for our children and be a resource for our children. That's the biggest thing, is listening. They're telling us if something's wrong, if they're going through a mental health crisis, They're telling us, they're sending the signs. Are we listening?
Right.
That's what I would say, Brother Marquez. And we talked before about how to listen. That's a segment in itself, though, you know. But if we just have the attitude, if we start there, that I want to know what my child went through today, just to listen. You don't have to act, you know. Nobody's saying run up to the school, you know, and try to figure things out, but be there so that your child knows, hey, when mom gets home from work, or when dad or when grandma gets home, I get to talk about it. That will be something they can look forward to, just like they look forward to talking with their best friend. That's healthy, but it's even healthier to have those conversations with an adult.
Yes, yes. And am I correct? Every school has a counselor or counselors that students can go to, and as you said, bounce off some ideas, maybe slightly vent, maybe talk about maybe something they don't feel comfortable talking to maybe a peer or their family about. Maybe they want to talk and get it off their chest to a counselor. But every school does have a counselor or someone in that field, correct?
More than one. It depends on the size of the school. The counselor is the most unbiased person probably that a student can talk with. Okay, the counselor is the best equipped person for a student to talk with. Even if they do talk with their friends, it's always best to get a different perspective. The counselor doesn't care about your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You know, the counselor cares about each child sitting in front of him or her. And it is a federal law. Counselors are in the school, and the number one job that counselors have is the mental health and well-being of the student. That's our job, period. Or we're inundated with paperwork, and it may seem like we're busy, et cetera, but our number one job is to look after the mental health of our students.
And that's one of the things that I know has been big with me, especially the past few years. And one of the things we want to get across on this edition of Yo Just Checking In: take care of and look after your mental health, not only for the students. God bless those in the education field, our teachers, professors, and the parents. We know there's so much going on right now, but let's take care of our mental health. Let's look out for each other. Let's care for each other, love for each other, advise each other when necessary. As we're wrapping things up, Sister Dedra, and one of the great ways maybe for some mental health in between, get Hidden Princess, read that. You know, take 30 minutes to read it a day. You know, spend 30 minutes to go on that adventure with Dedra Muhammad and Hidden Princess. But as we're wrapping everything up, any words of encouragement that you'd like to give for our students for this upcoming year?
Yes. And by the way, parents, let your children see you reading. Hidden Princess would be a great opportunity because children model after their parents. So if they see you into a good book like Hidden Princess, perhaps they'll follow suit. So that's key. I think I want to touch a little bit as we close, Brother Marcus, on mindfulness, because that's related to a student's emotional IQ. Because no matter what stressors a student may have in their lives, how they react to those stressors vary from student to student and based on what ecosystem they're coming from, like who's in their system, what they've learned, etc. So a student who develops a higher emotional IQ will be more equipped to handle those stressors in their lives. So being mindful and practicing mindfulness is what I want to end with. And all I mean by that is just being aware, socially aware of your emotions. So I can sum it up really briefly. I can say taking a moment to pause and be in the moment, just like this. Okay, how do I feel right now? Like somebody might be saying something. Maybe some bullying is going on right across the classroom. You're sitting there, you know. The bystander is affected more than anyone other than the target, because did you do anything about it? You know, you're handicapped. So just in the moment, I'm feeling depressed right now. What's going on? What's causing me to feel this way? I'm upset right now. Whoa, why am I upset? Let me just think about it. Let me get in tune with my emotions and be willing to share with yourself what you're really feeling before you share with anyone else. Okay, can I justify? I'm angry. Can I justify that? Then everything will start. Yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm mad. And I can justify it because he hurt me. Well, I'm mad. there couldn't even be the emotion of anger, Brother Marcus, if it were not for the emotion of sadness. Anger wouldn't exist if sadness didn't exist.
Mhm.
So when a student stops to reflect on why they're angry, then eventually they'll come to a hurt, a painful moment or something that pained them. And if they can deal with that pain or even accept the fact that they were hurt, then they're getting into their emotions. More on that, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Right. All right. This has been Yo Just Checking In, a production of 90.9 WJAB and WJAB.org. Our special guest has been Dedra Muhammad, author, educator, and much, much more. Her book, Hidden Princess, is out now. Google it. At the very minimum, Google and find out how you can get the book. If you're here in the Tennessee Valley, chances are it's in one of your libraries. And also, hopefully the advice, knowledge that she dropped as far as the upcoming school system is something everyone heard and will take it into their system, because we want our students to have a successful year, stress-free as possible for not only the students, but for our educators, our teachers, and also the parents. Sister Dedra, thank you so much as always for joining us on Yo Just Checking In.
All right. Thank you. Good job, Brother Marcus.
Thank you.